the 10 toughest job interview questions, along with the highest scoring answer tips to help you ace your interview. Hi, how are you? I'm Romulo Gutierrez. This is the Job Room channel. I conducted a survey with over 3,000 recruiters from different parts of the world through a major employment agency I'm connected with, and I asked them about the trending and most difficult job interview questions. And I'm going to tell you exactly what they are, from the 10th, 9th, 8th, all the way to the first, already with answer tips. So write everything down so you can succeed in your interview. The 10th question is, tell me about your biggest professional challenge. This question has an 18% chance of coming up in interviews. Tell me about your biggest professional challenge. The most important thing for this type of answer is that you mention a practical challenge you have already faced in the field you are applying for. So, for example, I'm going to an interview for a nursing position to work with terminally ill patients. Let's suppose that's the job description. When they ask about my biggest professional challenge, I'm going to talk about a challenge related to this activity. For example, look at Albert Einstein Hospital, where I worked for 10 years. There was a time when I was taking care of 2 patients who were in a critical terminal state. That was very difficult to handle. I asked the team for support. With one of those patients, thanks to the care from the doctors and nurses, we managed to turn things around. He got better, but it was a challenge that lasted almost 4 months, during which we had to change work shifts to help and to save that life. So you provide context, you explain a difficult challenge related to the job opening. Where do a lot of people go wrong? They tell a good professional challenge, describing the situation, the task, the action, and the result, the STAR method. They do that, but they don't connect it to the job description. Keep that tip in mind. 9th question. This will come up in your interview. This one comes up about 20% of the time. It's, why did you apply for this position? Why did you apply for this job? What was your reason for choosing it? So the recruiter or the department manager wants to know if you really understand what you chose. So show familiarity with the position. Show that you understand the technical challenges of the job. I always recommend using the 3 reasons technique or the 3 whys technique. So let's suppose now I'm a software developer and they ask me, why did you apply for this position? The answer is straightforward. I applied for this job for 3 reasons. The first reason is that I saw you use JavaScript a lot, and I already have courses and certifications in this area for over 3 years, so I'm quite familiar with it. The second reason is I noticed that for this position, you prioritize people who have already worked with clients in the Netherlands, and I provided software services for a major company in the Netherlands for over a year and a half. And the third reason, so you try to bring up points from your professional experience that relate to this position using this technique of the first, second, and third reason, okay? Let's move on to the 8th question that comes up most often in job interviews around the world, which is, tell me about a time when you failed. Describe a moment when you weren't able to perform well. This question appears in 22% of interviews. Notice that the frequency keeps increasing. The first question appears in 69% of interviews. Stick with me until the end of the video. Tell me about a time when you failed. Here, a lot of candidates get a bit nervous. But am I supposed to talk about a failure? Should I mention something I did wrong? Humans make mistakes, and the recruiter, the interviewer sitting with you, is fully aware of that. He knows you're not perfect. He knows you make mistakes. So there's no problem in talking about a mistake. The problem is mentioning a mistake you didn't fix or didn't learn from. So let's say I'm a logistics analyst and someone asks me, tell me about a time when you failed. I could say, look, there was a time when I had to ship a load to the port. I chose 2 trucking companies to do the job, but I didn't check their references, and as a result, the shipments arrived very late at the port, which caused a loss for the company. But to fix this mistake, from then on, every time I hire a transport service, I check their references and contact previous clients to make sure the operations are secure. So show that you learned from it, fixed it, and that it won't happen again. Seventh question that will definitely come up in your interview. The question is, before I go on with the question, if you want to simulate an interview, practice a job interview, or get performance feedback, just message this WhatsApp number on the screen. International code 5511, number 9770-65417. The same WhatsApp link is here in the description and in the first comment. The prices for the interview simulation services are low for subscribers of the Job Room channel. Here, videos always come out on Wednesdays, without fail. Subscribe and leave your like. Let's go to the seventh question. How do you deal with difficult clients, coworkers, or even bosses? How do you handle difficult people? So, when the recruiter or manager asks you this question, it means that the work environment you're going into, whether with clients or colleagues, is a tough one, a complicated environment, a tense atmosphere. And that's why they're asking. So there's no point in just answering, "Oh, it's fine, I handle difficult clients and bosses very well." Give an example. So now, if I'm an IT product manager and someone asks me, "How do you deal with difficult coworkers or with very demanding clients or with very demanding bosses?" I would say, "Look, as an IT manager for 10 years, I've always had to deal with very demanding clients. Let me tell you an example." Then I give an example. At GE Electric, where I worked as an IT manager, there was a client based in Brazil. He was extremely demanding. The deadlines were always changing all the time, and I always managed to keep a good communication channel and negotiate deadlines. In fact, he always used to tell my boss about how much he appreciated my work, complimenting my programming. So I always managed. Even though he changed his mind all the time, he was the client, and I was still able to maintain a good channel of communication and negotiation with him. Give an example, okay? They want to know about your conflict management and interpersonal relationship skills. Sixth question. This one comes up 32% of the time. What is your salary expectation? What is your salary expectation? When it comes to talking about salary expectations, I'll give you two excellent tips. First, do a quick salary research in your region, in your city, related to your profession, okay? When you have an average salary range, the Indeed website helps a lot. LinkedIn too, you can look up this kind of information. Do some research on average salaries so you can answer within the average range. A second tip that I always give: never set a fixed, precise amount. Try to work with a number that is, flexible. So I'll give you an example, which is my own salary expectation. I want to earn around $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Okay? It's not good for me to say, "Oh, I'd like to earn $63,000 a year." No, I keep that window open. I say, based on the research I've done, I imagine a salary around $60,000 to $70,000 a year. And then you finish the sentence. But I'd also like to hear the company's offer, because I really like the position in question. That way, you'll also listen and you'll be able to negotiate this tough interview question well. Let's move on to the fifth question. Let's go. This one, there's a 39% chance it'll come up in your interview. Why should we hire you? Why should we hire you? Okay? This is usually a question asked at the end of interviews, and it's often a sign that the manager or recruiter liked your performance. And now they're giving you the chance to give reasons why you should be hired. And here's my tip. Give two strong technical reasons related to the position. Technical reasons. For example, the position is for financial manager. I could say, "Look, you should hire me for two reasons. The first one, I noticed that you need a financial manager who can handle cash flow management and expense control." Then give an example. "And at the last company where I worked for 2 years, ABC Finances, I managed, together with my team, always as a group effort, to achieve a cost reduction of around 30%, and I believe I can help with this challenge. And another reason, I noticed that you need a specialist in Power BI and Excel, and I recently got certified in both, so I believe I can help, and that's why you should hire me. So provide a technical context for why you should be hired. Fourth most common question in job interviews. If you're with me, leave a comment for me. Tell me your name and where you're from, where in the world you are so I can get to know you. And leave your like, it really helps a lot. Let's move on to the fourth question. Tell me about your biggest strengths or your strengths and weaknesses, your flaws, your qualities, okay? When you answer this, it comes up in 42% of interviews. First thing, don't lie. Be as truthful as possible. Mention real weaknesses, mention real strengths, because usually your answers are compared with a psychological test you take during the selection process. So it's pointless. If I'm not organized, why would I say as a strength, oh, I'm very organized? If I'm more on the shy side, why would I say, oh, I'm very outgoing? So you need to have that self-awareness to answer well, okay? And a second point that I think is important to mention, focus on strengths that highlight the position, strengths that are important for the job. If I'm a flight attendant, I would say, look, let's suppose I have this ability. Of course, I'm good at handling crises and difficult situations. For a flight attendant, that's important. And a weakness for a flight attendant, I'm someone who doesn't have many interpersonal relationships. I talk, I explain, but I'm a bit shy. That won't interfere with the job. So choose weaknesses that won't interfere with the job and strengths that help with the job, as long as they're real. The third question that will definitely come up in your next interview is, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? This question comes up in 55% of interviews. Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? So it's basically a question like this. The recruiter or manager asking wants to know, do you plan to stay here for a long time? Do you intend to build a career here? So show that your professional plans align with the position. It's no use. I'm applying for a marketing manager position and then they ask me, what are your plans for the next 5 or 10 years? Well, without a doubt, I want to get a new degree in medicine and become an orthopedic doctor in Belgium. So if I'm applying for a job now in Italy, you get it right? For a marketing manager, that's a bit. So try to show that you are aligned with the future position. Look, in the next 5 years, I want to take new marketing courses. I want to specialize in digital marketing, create digital marketing solutions, and continue working in marketing management over the next 5 years, especially in companies that are launching new products, like this company. You can also bring up a personal dream, okay? And on a personal note, I plan to visit the Brazilian Amazon since I'm talking about Brazil, the Brazilian Amazon with my family. All right. Now, let's move on to the second question, which usually terrifies clients, which is, tell me a little about yourself. This question comes up 60% of the time in interviews. Tell me a little about yourself. It's the first question in the interview. It's very important that your answer lasts about 2 to 3 minutes. Don't make it too long. 2 to 3 minutes. And introduce yourself as an individual, as a person. And then you talk a little about professional matters. So you could say, look, I'm Romulo Gutierrez. I'm 46 years old. I'm passionate about life. I really love the sea. I enjoy nature. I'm married. I have 2 daughters. My main hobbies are spending time with my family and watching series on Netflix. And then I move on to talk about professional matters. Professionally, I work with. Then I'll try to bring in words, terms, and techniques that are related to the position I'm applying for so that the recruiter or manager can see you fitting into the role. And the first most difficult question in interviews, and it really is a tough one, is why you left your last job. It comes up 69% of the time. Why did you leave your last job? I've left a full video here for you to watch. Go check it out, I'll explain. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.